Hello, I'm Namakam Kelabai. Welcome to IDC Insights. This is a program that profiles the Industrial Development Corporation's investments and subsidiaries in the group. Now, today's program is special. Special because we profile the IDC's first greenfield project, Zambia's first large-scale solar energy generation. In 2015, Zambia faced a very large energy deficit. This was on account of low water levels. As you know, Zambia derives most of its energy from hydro. And so government tasked the IDC to procure and develop alternative energy source. Fast forward to 2019, IDC launches and commissions its first and largest solar farm. Welcome to Zambia's largest solar farm here at the Lusaka M-Phase. Welcome to Ngonye and Bangweulu solar farms. Shitalo, how did the IDC find itself in a position to get involved in such a huge investment like the solar farms?
You will recall that around 2013, we had effects of El Nino. So that El Nino came with it a dry spell. So as you understand, Zambia generates most of its electricity from hydro. So after the drought, we realized that we lost about 40% of our generation capacity because the water levels in our reservoirs were low. So what happened was that the ministry realized that we needed to find a solution, a quick solution to solve this problem, because it came with it also blackouts. So those blackouts affected our industries, it affected our livelihoods. Most people lost their jobs because they needed to use electricity to run their businesses. So they directed us to implement and deploy about 600 megawatts of solar energy. So what happened was that we went out in the market and sourced out the advisory services from the World Bank. So the World Bank and ourselves agreed and came up with a program called Scaling Solar. So Scaling Solar is a one-stop shop for governments to quickly deploy solar projects using privately funded resources. So through Scaling Solar, we agreed with the World Bank that we would deploy 600 megawatts. And this 600 megawatts was a rough estimate of what we had lost due to the low water levels in our reservoirs. So the World Bank signed with ourselves what we call the Financial Advisory and Services Agreement. With that, it meant that the World Bank was going to finance the project. They were going to advise us on the technical aspects of the project as well, and also that they were going to help us run the procurement process. So right around 2016 May, we launched the process, and we successfully awarded to two developers.
So we're here in the M phase. Why particularly this area here?
So the M phase, as you know, comes with a lot of incentives. And seeing that this was our first project, and seeing that this was the first technology into Zambia, and also considering that it was a novel technology, and also in the region as well, we realized that if we took the project to a location where we didn't have any particular incentives, we would probably have ended up with a higher tariff. But we came to the M phase because the M phase offers 0% tax for the first 5 years, income tax, and also 0% tax on dividends for the first 5 years of operation, as well as the developer was offered 0% custom duty on equipment and machinery. So that was our very first reason for us to come into the M phase. And also we looked around and we wanted to get to quickly acquire land that we could then develop on. We were looking for quick wins. The location was perfect in that it had incentives, so we had the opportunity to derive a lower tariff.
After an extensive tender process, two developers, Enel Green Power of Italy and Neoen of France, emerged winners. Enel partnered with IDC to form Ngonye Power Company, while Neoen would partner with IDC to form Bangweulu Power Company. In each company, the IDC has a 20% stake, with the balance of 80% being owned by Enel and Neoen separately. Bangweulu Power Plant was the first to commence construction.
Neoen is a French IPP, independent power producer. So it's one of the leading independent power producers world over. At the moment, we are basically in almost every continent, in 15 different countries, with a portfolio of projects equaling about 4 gigawatts, some of which are currently under construction and also under operation. So this is something that we do. We are involved in solar, we are involved in battery storage, energy storage systems, as well as wind technology. So we live and breathe renewable energy.
You found yourselves partnering with the IDC. How did that come about?
Right, so IDC for us presented a very strategic partner. You may recall that through the Zambian government, there was an initiative called Scaling Solar, which aimed at diversifying the energy mix in Zambia by the introduction of renewable energy. And so IDC for us was a partner in that process to actualize such a project as this one.
So have you done this kind of projects? Where have you done such huge projects? Because you've got, what, 54 megawatts here?
Yes.
So where have you done such a project?
Okay, so we have similar projects dotted all over. In South America, we even got larger ones, over 100 megawatts at a given site. In France, in Portugal, we have in Finland, as well as in Australia. Australia for us is a very huge market. And as we speak right now, we are currently constructing another plant in Mozambique. So we are basically, we continue to improve, we continue to develop similar projects, and we also pride ourselves in developing projects that deliver clean, reliable, and very competitive energy.
Bangweulu Power Plant, the whole project, scored a lot of firsts.
Yes.
Tell us some of those firsts that you scored.
Well, I think Bangweulu scored a lot of firsts, and thank you even for reminding me. This is the first large-scale, solar-connected power plant in Zambia, and actually in the sub-region outside South Africa, because there have been smaller ones, but not done to this scale. So Bangweulu was actually among the first, and so we are very happy that it was actually actualized, and that we look forward, to even having similar projects also coming on board, because for us, the market is such that it was predominantly hydro, but now trying to move away a little bit from hydro and also putting in other, should I say, sources of generation that help, even in moments of drought, like where we are coming from. And so the time that this plant was being installed and commissioned was actually at the height of a power crisis that had hit Zambia. So first of this magnitude in this region, I mean, when we talk of this region, just an exception of South Africa, this scale, this magnitude being done. For us, IDC, as I said, is a very strategic partner, and they basically brought in also the component of this land that is here. I can say that this is well located, well situated, very close to a substation for easy evacuation of power. Because you can imagine if you had to build this facility somewhere in a remote area, the cost of delivering the project would have been much higher. So the value that IDC brought to the project was to have this kind of location, the grid nearby, but also some of the initial project development work which goes into delivering a project, was already done by the help of IDC and the partner at that time, IFC. So a number of project documents, a number of agreements were already in place. That helped this project to be delivered within a short period of time.
Ngonye is a French company.
Yes.
So you brought in your French expertise.
Yes.
Did you work with any local Zambians? And here I mean not necessarily the people, but also just institutions. Did any Zambians actually benefit from this project, or it was just Ngonye?
I can tell you for a fact that much as the developer, the lead developer and the major shareholder in this case, Ngonye, is from France, I can tell you that the structures that you see, the civil works, the stands that you see, the modules standing on, were done by locals. And the installations were done by locals. At the height of construction, over 800 people were employed here, and those are locals. You know, security services were provided by locals. You know, some of the electrical installations, mechanical installations were done by locals. So obviously the idea for Ngonye is to have a small complement, very competent, and work with the locals. As the plant is operating right now, we have a complement even of Zambians who are helping run this facility as well. These are some of the foundations that were actually laid by our local civil engineers. If you come over here, you see the panels. These are the solar modules or the solar panels.
Am I allowed to touch?
Yes, you can touch the edge.
Edge.
So these panels were actually also installed by our local, you know, our local people after they received the necessary training.
So these are the modules.
Yeah.
The panels. I would call them panels.
It's one and the same thing. Can use it interchangeably. Don't worry.
So how many? Because this looks
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
So how many panels did you actually use, you know, to complete this project?
Right. So we basically used about 453,600.
400.
Yes.
That's equivalent to what?
So that's about, if you take a field of 30 hectares,
Wow.
30 hectares of land, you can actually line these up back to back. That's about, you know, 30 hectares of land. You know, because the whole solar plant here is designed and it's placed on an area of 52 hectares. Yeah, that's the size. And that is because we have to leave space in between the rows and things like that. Those are design considerations. But for now, I just stick to the fact that there are so many panels installed here, and this job was done by locals.
Now, Joe, I see a lot of grass.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any snakes?
Occasionally, we find snakes.
Are you serious?
Different types of snakes, and I'll tell you why. This place was basically a forest, and and we are also near the Lusaka National Park. So just next door, the Lusaka National Park. That is why, as we walk around here, you see any rabbit, please don't kill. I know you may want to have a meal, but please don't kill a rabbit. We usually call snake handlers to come and relocate the snakes when we come across them.
You don't kill them at all?
No, you are not allowed to kill. Whether you see a bird or any other animal, you are not allowed to kill, because it means that they've basically strayed from the national park.
Okay, so this interview is going to continue somewhere there. The second developer for Ngonye power plant is Enel Green Power. Enel is present across 5 continents in 28 countries with over 1,200 plants. In Africa, Enel is currently the largest independent renewable energy player in terms of megawatts installed. Its first entry into Africa was South Africa with a 500 megawatts capacity, and now through scaling solar, they are in Zambia.
This dates back to 2016 when the World Group solar scaling in Zambia was advertised, and Enel Green Power won the bid, and that's how they partnered with IDC, with IDC having 20%, then Enel Green Power having 80%. With that given, then they were also given the right to construct, to develop, to finance, and own the plant. And currently, with the ownership, we are now in operation as Enel Green Power. Of course, this is a Ngonye PV plant. Yeah, that is what it's called. And of course, Ngonye is a local name. So in order to, to align with the local name, yeah.
I've noticed that the panels are actually moving. Tell us more about these panels.
Okay. The panels, they move. Our plants, they track the sun, meaning they will begin from east, following the sun until it sets in the west. So there is gradual movement. So at any particular time, it will be moving, and it is almost at 90 degrees to the sun to harvest the maximum energy from the sun. So this is only possible through following the global time. So we've got GPS that are located in different parts of this plant, and that's how they are moved. Of course, they are mechanical and electrical, plus the electronic signal with respect to the time that it gets from the GPS, and that's how they move. Yeah.
This just looks massive. How many panels are here?
The number of panels that are here is 104,850.
104.
850.
That's how many hectares?
We are at 58 hectares. By the way, we've got two plants. Where we are standing, this is east plant.
Okay.
Then when we cross the road, there's another plant on the west. That makes 58 hectares.
So you've got over 100,000 panels, and we're sitting on over 50 hectares. I'm just trying to visualize here. How many houses can you power, or an area?
If we look at 34 megawatts, we can take a quarter of Ndola town. In terms of the houses, we can cater for that. So it's a bigger unit. Yeah.
With such a good reputation, did we have any skills transfer? Did you have any Zambians working on such a huge project?
I am the product of that skill transfer, because I came in when the project was starting. There was just a bush here, and to the point where we are. I've been here. So there was a massive skill transfer. The current team that runs this plant was also involved in construction. So, and the beauty with Enel is whatever they develop, even in South Africa it's the same. In America it's the same. The local takes the ownership in terms of operation and maintenance. So currently, we are purely Zambians who are running this plant. The support we get normally is a corporate support. And not just that, we've also a Zambian who is part of the board of directors under Enel Green Power.
Being a new project, the two plants required the use of highly skilled labor, most of whom were employed by the major shareholders. Overall, both plants saw the need to utilize as much local labor as possible. This not only supported skills transfer, but also guaranteed a reservoir of staff who could work on new projects that might come along. Currently, these employees are now working as operations maintenance, plant supervisors and plant technicians. It is at Ngonye Power Plant where we meet Chirufya Mwansa, a plant technician. Chirufya, what happens here?
Okay, so this place, this is what we call the cabin, inverter cabins. We've got 4 inverters in here. So this is the inverter that converts the DC from the panels outside that you saw to AC, and then the power is sent to the transformers behind. I'm not sure if you saw the transformers behind, and then we feed into Zesco feed. So basically that is what happens. So these are the modules that we use to convert the DC into AC. These are used, we use the IGBTs to convert that.
Sounds like Spanish to me. But anyway, how long have you been with Ngonye Power Plant?
So I'll be clocking 2 years on the 1st of April. So it's almost 2 years here.
So you've been here since the plant was commissioned, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. How did you feel, actually, being part of a huge project like this?
It was very exciting, extremely exciting. This is one of the first plants, the first solar plant in Zambia. So when I was called, I was interviewed and I was told that I had a job. It was the most exciting thing that one of the most exciting things that I must say. Solar is new in Zambia. It was a new challenge. I'd never worked on solar. I didn't know anything about solar, so it was a new challenge for me. And being a lady, it was like, okay, wow. Let me also show my skills. It's a chance to learn something, explore, and yeah, be out there. So it's an interesting place to be. It's got things that I never worked on before. There's challenges here and there, but it's exciting overall. It was interesting. It's still interesting. There's always something new to learn. Yes.
So if an opportunity came by and we needed to have more solar farms, do you feel that you'd be able to transfer that skill that you've learned from here?
Exactly. I've been here for almost 2 years now. So everything that is here to learn, I've learned it all. I'm looking for something new. If it was something, it's renewables, wind, yes, it will be a challenge. But for solar, bring it on. I'm ready for it.
Well done.
Thank you.
Bangweulu Power Plant was officially commissioned on 11th March 2019 by His Excellency Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, while Ngonye Power Plant reached its commercial operation in April 2019. The two power plants currently feed into the national grid through ZESCO. This was not only a major milestone for IDC, but also a major milestone for Zambia. IDC actually actualized this whole project. How did you feel when you finally commissioned that last panel was inserted there and you switched on the light and the electricity was generated? How did you feel?
Namakau, to be given such a huge mandate and actually delivering, you can imagine, it was awesome. And the president himself was at the site to commission. Then you see the significance of what we achieved. So it was really a great moment for us, a great moment for the IDC, and personally a great moment for me. I was so excited.
Bangweulu Power Plant had the lowest tariff at the time.
Yes.
That's a tick.
Yes.
Also the largest solar farm in Zambia. That's a tick.
Yep.
NeoN partners with IDC. You actually delivered.
Yeah.
How did you feel when your last panel was being inserted?
Yeah, that's amazing. Just talking about it gives you goose pimples, because this is something which was just a story before then. People would have to travel either to go to South Africa, they would have to go abroad, get a visa, to go and see something like this. But here it is now. And it's amazing. The president was here to officially commission this place. And for us, it also shows that where there's commitment, where there's collaboration, where there's synergies, you can do anything.
The two solar plants have a combined capacity of 88 megawatts of electricity feeding into the national grid. Now, as exciting as this is, it is just the beginning. The IDC is committed to continue growing the renewable energy sector in Zambia. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.